So today we're going to be adding another video to our cross wrist series, and we're going to be looking at a NCAA runner-up and multiple-time All-American Tanner Sloan from South Dakota State. We're also at the end of the video going to look at four other wrestlers in Seth Gross, champion at 133, Matt Ramos, current number one at 125, Greg Kirkfleet, heavyweight champion, and Rocky Jordan, who was at the peak of his career, top 10 at 184. Just to look at a few different weight classes. So the good thing about Tanner Sloan is I think he would add value because he was really good. He would implement all three of the cross wrist tilt trifecta, right? He used multiple different setups and ways to get there. I'm showing some of those clips now, and I'm going to pause it when he actually gets to what we're talking about today. But he used the Eastern roll through tilt, the 2-on-1 cheap tilt, as well as the reinforced bar tilt, which is also a really good tilt that Spencer Lee, you probably know, Spencer Lee did quite a bit. And the way he gets to it is, I already have multiple videos about tight waist chop, tight waist head lever, in that system. I believe that should be your main way to get it. I'm also working on the video that I'm going to be working on right after I post this one on Ryder Downey from UNI and how he reaches to that far arm, far elbow, far tricep, or just the far wrist to get the system. Doesn't really use too much forward pressure like these other guys. But the main reason why the Sloan is really, really good is because I believe it has the most value or the most use when the opponent is flat on their stomach and you don't have a tight waist in. If you have a tight waist and they're flat on their stomach, no big deal. Push the elbow, wait for them to post, or just block the bicep and drive them over their arm. But when they're flat on their stomach and you don't have a tight waist in, this is a really good technique to use. It's very basic. All you're doing is grabbing the hand. If you watch my Greg Kirkfleet video and my Rocky Jordan video, you know what I'm about to talk about. The hand, not the wrist, the hand. Can you get away with grabbing the wrist? Yes. But all these guys try their best to prioritize grabbing the outside, the meat of the hand. So just do what they're doing. You feed it to your other hand to give yourself a cross wrist, and then you go underneath. Well, that's really it, right? Once you feed it to your other hand for the cross wrist, you have the cross wrist. You can go underneath to pull it in, or you can just stay over the arm and pull it in as an Eastern grip. But he does this to a 2-on-1 cheap tilt. And he did this quite a bit. And he would use this setup for a rebar, 2-on-1, or in the Eastern. Once you have a cross wrist, you have options. Show that again. This is very basic stuff. Grab the outside of the hand, pull it in. Very easy. This video does not need to be as long as it is, but because kids need so much proof to really buy into something, some kids you show something one time, they get it. Other kids, they really need to believe, see something over and over again to believe. So this is really for a lot of the kids that I coach. Sometimes he'll crossface to set it up, but he grabs outside of the hand, grabs the wrist. And when you grab the cross wrist, because this only with the Howard cross wrist, your other arm needs to be underneath the opponent's armpit. That should be pretty obvious, or it wouldn't be a cross wrist. But I just want to say that to make sure this video is a one-stop shop for everything about the Sloan or whatever. Just a name to have a name for the setup. So this is the NCAA semifinals, right, against Rocky Elam, also a multiple-time All-American. You can see him grab the hand, bring it across, easy. And the cool thing about this setup is, you can also use it pretty easily to set up a near wrist as well. Zane Lecterford has a version of it, but he just goes across and reaches for the hand and not the wrist. Hand. So this is his main setup. So he will use it even when the opponent is based up. Again, if you're really good at tight waist chop, tight waist head lever, I don't think it's necessary to add a whole new breakdown to your game, to your cross wrist system. But for when they're flat and you don't have a tight waist, this will really add a lot to your game, and know this. So a lot of times when you do this, there will be space in between the crook of their elbow and their rib cage, and you can lace your arm through for the bar. So here you see him utilize the reinforced bar tilt. I believe he doesn't get it in this clip. There's so many clips that I recorded. Yeah, I think maybe he switched to an Easton, which he doesn't get it in general. Yeah. No harm, no foul if you don't get it. It's a great way to ride somebody from the top position, a great way to get turns. Gonna go right back to it. There's also a good lesson so many good lessons in this video if you pay attention. Have faith in your setup. Have faith in your setup. I mean, you know it works. Just because it doesn't work every single time doesn't mean you completely abandon it. So this time he makes the adjustment, doesn't go reinforced bar tilt, which is typically pretty automatic if you get it, but people can fight against it. He goes Easton and doesn't get it, right? So same thing later in the match. He's done this twice already and hasn't gotten a tilt either time. He goes right back to it. Outside of the hand, feed it to the cross wrist. He prefers to go underneath for a 2-on-1 grip. He then laces the reinforced bar, takes it out, and then he goes east. I believe he's going to end up getting a 2 count. I remember this match. He was having a hard time tilting this guy. Yep. Got a 2 count there. He will crossface a lot, and then that helps him set this up, if you notice. So a lot of times he will use a crossface to help set this up. This guy ends up on his forearm. Boom, hand, wrist, pulls it in. The thing I like about this setup is, again, you're getting the near wrist, the cross wrist when you get the 2-on-1 grip, and you can pretty much switch over to any tilt that you would like. Got a good position there. Same thing. I watched all his videos, all his matches on the internet, so I just want you guys to watch it as much as possible. Notice any details that I may not mention, but rebars, Easton's 2-on-1 grips, 2-on-1 tilts is what he uses a lot. Crossface. That time he was over the arm, and it still worked. Just one extra step. This is also good because a lot of 197 pounders, so now in high school, I guess that would be applicable to 190 and especially 215. A lot of those guys believe like tilts aren't for them. And if they do tilt, they limit themselves to the 2-on-1 tilt, but even they barely do that at the high school level, at least where I'm at in Florida. But I mean, you can tilt at that level. Wrap the hand. Now he's using the Western hook and his knee on the arm when the person is based up. Again, I don't care for that. I won't be really teaching my guys that. He's a longer wrestler. He kind of has to reach for that. If they're based up, we're getting in. We're either using the tight waist system or tight waist chop or head lever, or we're going to be using the routed downy, what routed downy does, which I'll be making a video about. His CrossFit system won him a state title against a 3-time state champ who was going for his 4th his senior year. So, pretty good system that he has there. Okay, let me speed this up a little bit. No reason to make this a 20-minute video because that's what I got to set up for now. Grabs the hand, wrist. I mean, this is so basic. This is so extremely basic, and it's frustrating because I know there are going to be kids out there who just refuse to believe this works somehow, or say, oh, "Coach, I can't do it," and I don't understand what the confusion would be. Honestly, works in for the reinforced bar. And the cool thing about it is, even if you don't get the rebar tilt, which you should get, you still have a bar. You can let go of the wrist and you still have a bar. So if you just know something basic like running the bar, then you can still score with it that way. The hand, so he put his knee on the elbow. He always does that when he has a Western hook. So for the taller wrestlers out there, the wrestlers who want to use that setup, you can also use this setup even when they're based up. Again, based out, Western hook. Has it. He ends up getting the tilt. I'm gonna start going through some of it now. This is against four-time All-American Jacob Warner from Iowa. He teched him this match. This was early in both of their careers. Ended up getting a tech fall against Jacob Warner, who was a pretty good wrestler, pretty solid. You see here, he's whooping up on him pretty bad. Same thing, Western hook. Tries to stand up, doesn't help him. You can see Seth Gross in the corner here, which is fitting, because Seth Gross also ran this trifecta series of rebar, cross wrist, roll through tilt, Easton, and 2-on-1 cheap tilt. He used them all at NCAA. So against in the NCAA finals, he used a reinforced bar tilt against Stefan Michik, against Tariq Wilson in the NCAA semifinals the year he won. He used an Easton tilt, and I believe in the NCAA semifinals the year he got second against Cade Brock. That match against Cade Brock, the semifinals, he didn't get second against Cade Brock. He used a 2-on-1 tilt. So he used them all against high-level opponents in high-state matches. So now we're going to move on to other guys, because obviously I have most of the wrestlers watching like seeing guys from their weight class or around their weight class use these techniques. So if I find the clips, I'm going to provide them. So here you see Seth Gross right after the takedown. Instantly grabs the hand. Meat of the hand, feeds it over to the cross wrist. Now, it is 1 minute and 44 seconds left in the period. Right? And he's very, very patient. And remember what I said about how you can use this system to also use your near wrist. Sometimes you'll lose the cross wrist, but with the 2-on-1 grip, if you transition to the 2-on-1 grip, as long as you have a near wrist, you can always recover your cross wrist relatively easy. So I mean, he's just patient with it. Patience comes from doing this on a day-to-day basis, having success with it in previous matches, and knowing it works. Knowing that you're wrestling a guy who's fighting from the bottom position and it's not going to happen instantly. I cannot tell you how many times kids don't get a tilt in 10 seconds as if they're drilling, and they just let go of their position and try to go to something else that they don't even use. So you can see him regain the position. Look at how much space there is to just lace the easy rebar through. Right? Anytime you can get the reinforced bar, I would get the reinforced bar. That takes priority over the Easton. The Easton just easier to get to, the Easton grip. So he gets a 2 count. A lot of people here let go. A lot of high schoolers let go. Oh, I got my point. I got some points. Let me let go of the wrist, try to run the bar. Let me go to something else. No, you can get 4 full points. Hold your position, keep the same grip, and go back over to try to get your remaining 2 points to make it 4 points. It won't be 2 plus 4. It'll just be 4 because it's the same grip. You never let it go. And at this point, especially with 2-point takedowns, but even with 3-point takedowns, this pretty much decided the match, right? I mean, you're going into the second period up 6-0 at that level. So now you have Matt Ramos, who's currently number 1 in the country at 125 pounds, previous NCAA runner-up. He's going to grab the outside of the hand, brings it over to the cross wrist. Now, he doesn't reach inside because he's going straight to the Easton. Also, watch what his opponent does. His opponent is sitting up and posting that outside leg to heavily defend against the Easton. If you really like the Eastern roll through tilt, you have to add, when you go in the opposite direction, just basic cheap tilt to your arsenal as well, because you will see that defense all of the time. Another example of Matt Ramos using this, using the Sloan. I just call it that. You don't need a name for it. I just like naming stuff. So when I call it out in the corner, I'm not just walking them through it and the person hear it, right? So I was calling it the Kirk Fillet because Kirk Fillet, I made a video on him using this a long time ago. But Sloan uses it all the time. So Tanner Sloan. So I'm just calling it Sloan. He has the meat of the hand. He's going to bring it across to the cross wrist. He doesn't go inside because he's prioritizing the Easton. He doesn't do a 2-on-1 cheap tilt. He's going to do a roll through Easton tilt and get his back points. Always be cognizant of your back when you're doing your tilts. He's very close. Now I'm going to show 2 more videos of Greg Kerfoot and Rocky Jordan. I already made these videos in the past, so if you've seen them already, this is where you can click off. Don't forget to check out Earn Your Gold Academy. No one puts in as much legwork when it comes to trying to find the best wrestling techniques used by the best wrestlers as I do. I mean, I'm watching so much film on a regular basis and getting that information out to you guys. So check out Earn Your Gold Academy. 10 courses for $100, not a month, just one-time payment. So here you can see Greg Kirkflip grab the outside of the hand, not the wrist. Bring it over to the cross wrist. He's going to go underneath for a 2-on-1 grip, pull it under, and then at heavyweight, I do believe you should prioritize the 2-on-1 cheap tilt. I mean, it's just a great tilt. A lot of times, because their arms are so big and their torso is so big, lacing your arm through for a rebar probably isn't going to happen as often, if ever. And then the roll through tilt may not be worth it with all that weight. So, not saying it's not possible, but if you're going to invest in learning a tilt, the 2-on-1 cheap tilt is definitely your best option. Again, meat of the hand, bring it across to the cross wrist. I mean, this is very, very, very basic stuff. It's being used by multiple national runner-ups, national champions. This is really good technique, guys. Add this to your arsenal if you like any type of cross wrist tilts. Notice that he cross faces, right? Oh no, that's the last one. So right there, same thing, outside of the hand. Lets it go outside of the hand right here, brings it across to the cross wrist. I mean, he's just doing the same thing over and over again. And this is a freshman Greg Kirkflip. He was injured left and right. And he's going to end up winning this match like 18-0. So he's having trouble with it. He's going to cross face, just like Tanner Sloan would, go right back to it. Pretty easy stuff. This video still ended up being 20 minutes, even with me skipping through. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hopefully you guys learned something, right? So Rocky Jordan, last video. So he chops right into the bar, right into the rebar. Notice that, right? That's what, if they're based up like this, I prefer to chop or head lever. I think chop, head lever go hand in hand. And then the rider downing system, which I will be making a video on, which I've already said multiple times, that's probably second. And then the Sloan, I will prioritize when they're flat and you don't have a tight waist. Just really want to reiterate that. Chop right into the cross wrist, right into the bar. I don't know which one he got first, the cross wrist or the bar. Doesn't matter. Ends up getting the rebar tilt. Notice what he does when they flatten out. Right. He's going to grab the hand, bring it across to the cross wrist. Now notice he has the nearest now. Reaching inside gives you that. And then that allows him to regain the cross wrist pretty easy because he still has wrist control. He's going to snake his arm through. So he adds the extra step of getting the bar, but it's a much more secure tilt. So it just depends on whatever you're comfortable with. And off season's coming up, so off season already here for some of you guys. So I will get comfortable with all the three trifecta, right? The 2-on-1, the Easton, and the rebar. Outside of the hand. You can grab the wrist, guys. You can grab the wrist. They're just weaker at the hand. Cross face, and that's crazy how that works, right? He also uses the cross face, switches to the cross face, and then switches back to the Sloan. So, I mean, all these guys are doing it. It has to be something, right? So he ends up getting a position. I believe he loses it here, but he still got a near wrist with it. He just didn't use near wrist. If you like a near wrist, you like the hammerlock system, you can also use the Sloan for that as well. So always keep that in mind. Oh, he ended up getting it here. So feed it back to the cross wrist, laces the arm through for the bar. Easy reinforced bar tilt for another 4 back points. So that concludes this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Just trying to bring all the information I possibly can to you guys, all the value I can. And I know the team I'm going to be coaching next season, we're running we are running a cross wrist system. So I'm making these videos for them and might as well make it public. So thank you guys for staying to the end if you did, and I will see you on the next video.